All right, this is the intro video for, well, a really big property, a little over 60 acres, and kind of a special property in that it has direct frontage on the Niangua River along its east side. But even without that, without the river frontage at all, it's a super solid property, nice property. It's got some nice timber on it. It hasn't had any recent logging, so pretty unusual that we get something this big that has some nice timber on it with no recent logging. So let's hop in here and look at it. We're using the MapRight mapping program, and we've got the property outlined in red here. This is Corkery Road, paved road along the west side. You can see the property is basically all wooded. Um, and now the east side, it directly borders the Niangua River for about 110 feet. So I think what we'll do is we'll first go out a little bit. We'll look at the area. Yeah, as long as we're here, we'll go way out, and then we'll zoom back in after that. I'm going to turn off the water feature layer on MapRight. There we go. Okay, so here we've got the property in the center. About an hour to the southwest is Springfield, Missouri. Um, Kansas City in the upper left, a couple hours. Same with St. Louis to the northeast. The closest, what you want to call a large city, I guess, is Lebanon, Missouri. And that's going to be, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so to the east. So here's Lebanon over here by I-44. To get to the property, you just go west on Highway 64, and you'll get to Bennett Springs State Park. You'll cross the Niagara River there and keep going west. After a few miles, you'll come to Corkery Road, which goes off to the north, so you'll take a right onto that. You'll go north on Corkery. You'll pass the NRO Canoe and Campground, and the property is just past that. So as we go into the aerial map here, here's the NRO Canoe Campground, and you'll see signs for that everywhere, so you can just follow the signs, and then you just go past it, and you'll see the property on the right. If you were to keep going for about a mile, you'd get to the Barclay Conservation Area, which is a large tract, several hundred acres of tract, several hundred acres of land with a ton of frontage on the Niagara River here. There's a really good public access point right here. You can drive right down and hang out in the water or put your canoe or kayak in or whatnot. So that's a popular place. Now, as we get into the property, because we try to keep these brief, but there is a lot going on with this tract, so we want to get a good look at it. Okay, so you've got a little over 600 feet of frontage on Corkery on the west side. I think the most useful thing to do here is to turn on the topo map, because since we're in the heart of the Ozarks, we do have some up and down and flat and steep and everything in between. So as we look at the topo map, if you're familiar with them, this makes sense. If not, then this looks just ridiculous. But basically, every line on this topo map represents an elevation change of 20 feet. So the darker lines, every fifth line is a darker line to indicate that it's a 100-foot interval. So if we look here on the west side on Corkery, most of the frontage goes down fairly quickly, although here at the southwest, we have a ridge that goes down gradually. And then actually on the north or northwest, we have a long ridge that goes down very gradually as we go toward the bottom. This is a small creek bed, probably a seasonal creek bed. The property then rises back up, and this middle part, you have an unusually large flat area. Maybe a little bit of grade to it here on the south side, but basically it's all a large open flat area. It's all wooded. Then the property drops down again. You've got another natural creek bed here, and again, probably a wet weather creek bed. If memory serves, these both did have a little water in them when we walked the property, but I would not call these year-round creeks. So you get down there. What we did was we walked down the creek bed then, and then you go up again, and now you're on this bluff overlooking the Niagara River. And there's a flat area here, pretty stunning river view, and it's steep down to the water. That's probably the steepest part of the property is this last bit where it goes down to the Niangua. So I wouldn't quite call this a bluff, although some parts of it basically are a bluff. We were able to walk down to the bottom, but really had to kind of pick and choose and grab one tree and then grab another tree to get down to the bottom. Um, so that's um, the river frontage on the east side, in that it does have 110 feet of direct frontage on the Niagara River. This is arguably one of the very best sections of water frontage in Missouri. Not only is the Niangua River itself very popular, but this small section here, just down from Bennett Springs State Park, is a white ribbon trout fishing section. They raise rainbow trout and brown trout at Bennett Springs, and they stock this section of river, so you can actually trout fish in this section of river right from the property. So very unusual, very in demand. Even without the trout fishing, this is an insanely popular section of water. I mean, in the summertime, you've got canoes and kayaks and people and fun and all kinds of stuff on this river. So unbelievable section of river, but do bear in mind that the frontage is steep. So while it's super cool to have the water frontage, if you wanted to make it, where you could easily get to it, you'd be talking about some major dozer work on this hillside. I mean, this looks fairly narrow. It is 110 feet. So as we zoom in here. Okay. And that's about as close as we can get. But this is 110 feet. So someone who's better on a dozer than I am would probably start at the top and cut down diagonally, do a switchback, bring it down diagonally. There's actually a small flat area here at the bottom. But I mean, you're looking at days worth of dozer work, which quickly runs into several $1,000s. So if you wanted to do that, it could be an option. But we really haven't added the river frontage into the price. This is basically the price for good wooded acreage in this area. So we've got basically all wooded. I mean, you've got a few small areas that are a type of an open glade, one of them being this bluff here, which is pretty cool actually. There's another glade area here. You're going to find timber of all sizes on this property. We didn't see any signs of any recent logging. So if there was any logging, it was years and years and years ago. Could have been some property taken for firewood since then, but no commercial logging that we're aware of for many years. It's just a property where you really want to come check it out, because there's a lot of opportunity here. You've got the NRO campground and zip lines and stuff right over here, which is cool. I mean, you could potentially just camp at the NRO campgrounds and take your four-wheeler and buzz right down the road a few hundred feet onto your property and explore your property that way. To really make this, a showpiece, I guess, what you probably want to do is cut in some kind of trail that goes down. Ideally, the largest flat building spot, like you saw on the topo map, is here toward the center. So, I mean, if you could get in some type of trail going to that, and you certainly could, it's just a matter of having someone do it or renting the equipment from a rental place and doing it yourself. That's ultimately what would be a great way to get some equity in this property, is to do some trails or whatnot. And there may be some older trails on this. We have not explored the whole property. It's a big tract. So we've been, like I said, walked to the east, got to the river, did the drone video as well. But feel free to come and check this one out. I think it's a really special tract. Trying to think if there's anything else. The little creek beds are pretty cool. If we turn on again the water layer, let's see here, water features. It's interesting in that it shows this little creek bed, and this is just the map right water feature. So I don't know what they base that on, but if you go to the topo map, I guess they probably base it on the blue lines on the topo map. Personally, this one over here to the east side seemed to have more water flowing through it when we were out there than this one to the west did. So that's just one of those things. Let's go in. MapRight's great. We can send you the link for this interactive map. The property does have a recent survey, so it's just over 60 acres. although when you're out here, the boundaries themselves are not going to be flagged. You could pay to have that done. We didn't do that. But if you have this MapRight app, all you have to do is get the free app. It'll ask you to pay for a subscription, I'm sure, but you do not have to. You can get the free app. We'll email you this specific map. Then you have to open your email on your phone or tablet, click on the link, and it will ask if you want to open it within the app, to which you'll say yes. Then this map will pop up, and here's the good part. There'll be a little blue or red dot to indicate exactly where you are. It works on the GPS on your phone, I believe. So you can come out here and not only use the MapRight to get to the property, because you can be following the roads and have your little dot, but as soon as you get here, I mean, you could take your phone and go on foot or take your four-wheeler, go straight east. You can follow the whole east line right to this corner. You can cut north, you can go east to the river, and that little dot will show right where you are on this actual map with the red outline. So that's why we love MapRight so much. But what I was doing here, I was going to zoom in, because MapRight has different layers. This is a full paid version. You don't need to buy this. But we're on the Google Map layer. If we switch to, I believe, the vivid layer, so that's a hideous picture. It's wintertime, so you don't see any of the leaves on the trees. But the cool thing about this is you can get a better look at those little creek beds. Since this is a wintertime shot, this is the little creek bed on the east side. And then we're going to turn this water layer off because it's kind of in the way. Here's a little creek bed on the west side. So kind of interesting. But like I said, when we were out there, there was more flow in this eastern creek bed than there was in the western one. As far as flood zone, MapRight's pretty cool for that. We have a layer for the Fema Flood Map. There we go. So obviously, the stuff adjacent to the Niangua is within a floodplain. It shows that the rest of the property is not. It's generally pretty accurate. I still wouldn't build your home down in the creek bed, but we do have some people asking if properties are in a floodplain, especially if they're adjacent to a major river. And obviously, that's a good question. In this case, you're in good shape. So there we have it. Turn this off here. Okay, great. So check us out at InstantAcres.com. If the property is still available, that's where you'll see it. You can definitely call us in the office, or you can email us anytime at all at sales@InstantAcres.com. Like I say, rarely do we have tracts this big, especially with some decent timber on them. And this does have some younger timber, but it's got some big commercial timber as well. So you get a good mix on this one. But yeah, get a hold of us. Let us know what you're looking for. If you don't see this on the website, then unfortunately it's already been sold, but hopefully we'll have some more good stuff coming up. So www.instantacres.com.